Hi, I'm Matt Revel, Director of Policy and Communications for the Delaware State Senate Republican Caucus. I'm with Senator Brian Pettyjohn from the 19th District here in Georgetown. Senator, how are you doing today?
We're doing well.
Yeah.
It's been a tough week.
We want to just discuss the what's on everyone's mind here in Delaware this week, and that's the death of Corporal Keith Heacook with the Delmar Police Department. Obviously, tough situation for everyone. Everyone throughout the state's felt an impact on this. Senator, if you want to offer your thoughts.
Yeah. It was it's been a really hard week for a lot of us. On Sunday, while we were doing church service here in Georgetown, got a text that there had been an incident down in Delmar. It was a few hours after it occurred. But after information filters down, good information filters down, heard about it. And, we actually, at the end of service, I went up and asked everybody to say a special prayer for him, because for the information we were getting, it was pretty serious. And, as everybody knows that he did pass away, but in his passing away, even in that moment, he gave that gift of, allowing his organs to be harvested to hopefully save other lives out there. So, and we'll talk about it more, but he gave a lot for his community, and he gave a lot, even after his time was done, to help others. And from what I hear about him, I didn't know him personally, but from what I hear about him, that's who he was. There's going to be a lot of things said about him coming up here. But Delaware and Maryland, for that matter, lost a good public servant in Corporal Heacook.
So on Wednesday, in light of that tragedy and a lot of unfortunate other situations that have occurred throughout this nation, we wanted to honor those first responders and the law enforcement officers who have been injured or killed.
Right.
And so, out of that, Senator Lawson, Richardson, and Representative Smick introduced Senate Concurrent Resolution 41, which did just that, honored the fallen and injured police officers and law enforcement personnel within the line of duty. What were your thoughts on that resolution? And everyone signed on to it, which is very encouraging.
I mean, it's absolutely, it's timely, given the events, the recent events, and also, leading up to the month of May, which is set aside to remember those police officers that have been lost in the line of duty in the previous year. Unfortunately, in Delaware, we're going to be adding another name to that wall that we have. That's in Dover, honoring our law enforcement who've been lost. The resolution was timely. And honestly, it's something that needs to be on everybody's mind, is that these men and women that serve our communities, and they're members of our communities as well, they're constantly under attack. They're under physical attack. They're under attack for just doing their job every day. And it's something that we as a people need to be cognizant of, and we need to shift the narrative, to be quite honest with you. These officers are people. They will make mistakes. I have never known a police officer personally who intentionally did something wrong. If you're expecting perfection from another human being, that's something that's not reasonable to have. People will make mistakes. People have errors in judgments. People will do something that's wrong, just because they are human. To err is human. What we need to remember, though, is that they have the best intentions in mind. They're looking to protect and serve their communities. They're looking to be a part of those communities where they do their patrol, where they do their investigation. They want to help people. They didn't join that profession to gain riches. I mean, you don't get very wealthy by being a police officer. They do these things to serve and to be, members and to help other people in their communities. And that's what we need to remember as we've had this tragedy so close to home again, unfortunately, and another officer has been killed in Delaware. Every time it happens, it really affects all of us.
So you mentioned changing the narrative. How do we go about doing that? How do we kind of reshape the rhetoric that we've heard and we've unfortunately become accustomed to over the past year or so?
One of the things that we seem to see in the media now and with a lot of groups is that the police officers, when they're involved in an incident, they are immediately assumed to have bad intentions. We don't give them the benefit of the doubt as a society right now. The media doesn't give them the benefit of the doubt before they start their reporting. What needs to happen is with everybody, when something happens, there's something called due process. The investigation has to happen. All the facts have to be gathered. And then, based on those facts, an objective decision can be reached on what exactly happened during those incidents. I think as a people, we're always looking to throw blame right away. We expect kind of instant results. We're in the microwave society right now. You can make a meal just like that. Investigation, they take time. It's not like a TV show where from an incident to investigation to conviction happens within an hour. The right thing, these thorough investigations, finding the facts, doing the interviews, sifting through everything takes a significant amount of time. And when we have an incident that involves a police officer, whether it's a police officer that's involved in, doing their job and effecting an arrest against somebody, or whatever the case may be, we need to be able to look and be patient and get the facts first before we jump to conclusions.
So, Senator, there are two upcoming events recognizing and honoring law enforcement. The first one is Wednesday, May 5th at noon at Legislative Hall. It's the annual Law Enforcement Memorial.
Yeah.
And the next one is actually going to be in Georgetown on Monday, May 17th, 7 to 9 p.m. It's a rally honoring and showing our support for law enforcement.
Yeah. The annual Law Enforcement Memorial event on the Green in Dover is always a very somber event. One thing that I think is really unique to Delaware is that we do celebrate those and honor those officers who have offered that sacrifice in the line of duty. And it's also always a very well-attended, very somber event where, as a state, we pay homage to those individuals who have given, that last great measure of devotion for their communities and have paid that ultimate price. They read the names of every officer in Delaware who has died in the line of duty. And of course, it's in the Georgetown community, which I represent, it's a very special event because of Chad Spicer, who was an officer here in Georgetown before he was killed in the line of duty in 2009. And so you always see, his family there. You see Corporal Shea's family, over in Lewis, and then, Officer Ballard's funeral, Sergeant Floyd's family. You get all these families together who have been affected by the death of their loved ones in the line of duty, and unfortunately, we will have another name. I doubt they'll have his name into that wall yet, but we will have another name to be read this year. With Corporal Heacook.
And as I mentioned, we also have the event on May 17th.
Yes.
Could you discuss that?
Yep. Last year I held a law enforcement appreciation rally on the Circle in Georgetown, which was a great event. In our area here, especially in Sussex County, when we're going to honor law enforcement and show law enforcement that we have their backs, it's always a very well attended event. And I think in light of recent events, not only locally but nationally, we need to remind law enforcement and we need to remind the community that we support law enforcement. We support those good men and women that their only thing they want to do is to go out to serve the communities and come home safe to their families at the end of their shifts. This week, I'd just like to close this out by thanking everyone for watching, but also encouraging everyone to support our law enforcement here in Delaware. Attend these events honoring the memory of those officers who have fallen in the line of duty. Come to the event in Georgetown on May 17th, where we thank law enforcement for the work that they do for all of us as citizens of Delaware. And also say a special prayer tonight for our law enforcement officers that they arrive home safely to their families at the end of their shifts. We'll close out today with a few images of Corporal Heacook, honoring his memory and praying for his family in this great time of loss. Thank you for watching.